Hello and welcome to the last ever PlayStation Access video. April Fool! Not really, we're fine. And I know it's a day late for the whole April Fool's thing, but then this is the Tuesday checklist, not the Monday checklist, and we wanted to have a bit of April Fool's fun. With that in mind, we've all come up with 3 video game related anecdotes from our past, 2 of which are true, 1 of which is a barefaced lie. The rest of us, and you, have to try and work out which. Detective hats on, people.
Right, so I'm going to tell you 3 stories, 2 of which are true, 1 of which is not true. Okay, the first story, I don't know if, you may not know this about me, but I quite like...
You liar!
I quite like dancing. And during the PS1 era, I went around to my dad's house and he'd bought second-hand, like, I had to look up the name of this. It's Dance Stage Euromix. Yes! With a dance mat peripheral. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. And it was one of those things that lasted about a month. And then I just went back to playing Final Fantasy. But that month of playing Dance Stage Euromix was amazing. And during this time, I went to my friend Gareth's birthday party at Osili-Wood Bowl in Taunton, which is like a bowling alley, but it has all the arcades and everything. And Dance Stage Euromix was there. And I decided I would show the world how good I was at Dance Stage Euromix.
The end of this story is going to sway me on whether you say
I know. I think it's true because I understand this passion.
But I did it and I got 3rd place on the leaderboard in the Osili-Wood Bowl in Taunton.
I have been to the Osili-Wood Bowl in Taunton.
You may have seen my name. My second story is that when Final Fantasy IX came out, I think Final Fantasy IX was the most excited I've ever been for any game release ever. Like, I was unbelievably hyped for it. And at the time, I was about 13 or 14, so still living with my parents. For some reason, I had the master bedroom in the house, because the master bedroom came with an ensuite, which actually made the bedroom really small compared to the second bedroom, which was massive and had like a nice, it faced the light nicely. So my parents opted for that room, whilst I had the bedroom with the ensuite. And like the Christmas before, my dad had bought me like a little mini fridge as well. So I had that in my bedroom. And I did not come out of my room until Final Fantasy IX was finished, which took 4 days. And I didn't like plan this or anything, but in my fridge I always kept like loads of sugary drinks and chocolate bars. I had a few like packets of crisps in my room and everything, and also you had the ensuite in there as well. And so I literally did not come out of my bedroom for 4 days while I played Final Fantasy IX. My final story is a thing I used to do with Pro Evolution Soccer. I believe I did this before the 2008 World Cup, because I was so... Was it World Cup in 2008? No, 2006. It was around that time, so it might have been a Euros I did this for. But I used to, because I was so excited for these tournaments to happen, I used to do my own World Cup, but within PES. And so I would write the names of all the teams who were in the tournament down on a bit of paper, cut them out, scribble, like screw them up, put them in a hat, and I would draw my own groups, and I would literally put it to computer versus computer, broadcast television angle, like a transparent map, so it looked like I was watching a TV broadcast basically, and I would put it to like 30 minutes match length, the max length you could have, and I sat and watched the entire World Cup play out. And I recorded, like, you know, top scorers and everything. I had my own golden boot sort of counter.
Did you commentate?
I didn't commentate. I turned the commentary off as well, because I just like to just watch the drama unfold. And so yeah, I watched the entire World Cup in PES.
Rob, you said that you went to a friend's birthday, but famously you don't have any friends. Do you want to just...
Yeah, but I was at school back then. I was like 13 or something. So I have friends.
Very interesting. I'm not sure about story number 2. I don't believe that your parents would have left you in your bedroom for 4 days.
What I'm interested in. I know you love Final Fantasy IX, but I don't think they'd solely leave you in your room.
Well, it wasn't like a planned thing. It wasn't like I'm going to stay in my room and never come out. And it wasn't unusual for me to be in my room playing video games for a lot of the time.
How old were you at the time?
It was 2001, so I'd have been 14, 15 later that year. But it wasn't like, you know, I wasn't missed, really. It wasn't unusual. I don't think my parents really...
14! I wasn't missed. And then this last story, the pest story.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Did you say this was at university?
Pez, no, it was around, I did it multiple times. But the time I'm remembering, I was living in my flat in London, so it had just been after I'd just left university.
I am plumbing for story number 2, Rob in his room for 4 days.
I'm coming towards that.
I think too as well. I think any parents would, and this is going to be terrible if it's true, but I think they would maybe come in and tell you to just get out of the room by like maybe day 2.
Yeah. So should we hope then, because I think it's best for Rob and it's best for, you know, his parents, that number 2 is a lie. We'll hope that is the lie, Rob. Rob, did you spend 4 days in your room without leaving playing Final Fantasy 9?
I didn't know that.
You did it. Your parents love you. Congratulations.
Thank goodness.
Okay, so my 3 stories of 3 are, the first one, when I was around 15 or so years old, I decided to make a new tradition on my birthday every year. And that tradition was that on my birthday, I was going to play the Jungle Book Groove Party and finish it. So that's play all the songs on the Jungle Book Groove Party, and I was going to do that every year, and I was actually really sad that this year I forgot to do it.
On your birthday?
On my birthday, every year.
Just one day?
Well, no, I play it like throughout the rest of the year as well, because...
But I mean, like, on that day, the tradition is you play the whole game in one day.
Well, it doesn't take a whole day to be.
No, but I mean, but that on that day.
Yes,
you
on
must
that
play
day.
the game to completion.
Yes. The second story I have is that, as a lot of you may know, I really like Parappa the Rapper, which I thought that I was like, I'm wearing my Parappa the Rapper jumper. And I have a lot of merchandise from Parappa the Rapper. And one of my first little discoveries and one of the first things that I obtained was a Parappa the Rapper grabber, which is, you get those hands, it's, you press it here and there's a thing that goes like that. Like people have it for picking up.
Extender.
Yeah, like people have, and I just saw it and I just fell in love with it. You can get it in Sunny Funny or in Parappa, and this was the first time I was like, oh god, what other things are there on, so I went on eBay just looking at Parappa the Rapper merch, and I just saw it there and I was just like, oh my god, I have to own this. So to start my little Parappa the Rapper little collection, I've got a Parappa the Rapper grabber. And then my third story is that, I can't even remember when this started, probably when the PS3 kind of started being released, but I've got a list of boyfriends who I have in gaming. Now, these are just literally, they're characters who, you know when you play a game, you just get really connected with a character. These are characters.
I mean, I've never called one a boyfriend.
But these are characters that I just play, and when you just feel it in your chest, you're just like, this is my boyfriend. There are some characters who you'd think, no, it's fine. My actual boyfriend knows of this list, and I always tell him when a character gets updated on the list.
How many boyfriends are on this list?
I've certainly, as I've got older, the boyfriends have got less. And when I discover them, I'm just like, oh my god. And I remember when I saw Kiryu, I played it with my boyfriend, and I just went, he's my boyfriend. And I just sort of stared at him and he was like, why is he your boyfriend? I was like, just my heart, you don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I've only known Rosie a few months, but that all sounded incredibly believable to me. Especially the names on the list.
I think.
Well, I want to ask some questions about your Parappa grabber.
Yes.
I was wondering if you could describe it to me, because what's in your hand? In your hand is like the handle parts, when you've got there's nothing Parappa-y about that bit?
No, literally the handle and the sort of plastic long stick thing. The stalk, it's just like a coloured bit of plastic.
Okay. And then
on the front is a little, it kind of looks like a little puppet or a plush of Parappa, and you've got
So is it soft?
Yeah, it's nice and soft, which is why he doesn't really have that good of a grip.
Right.
And I wouldn't recommend picking up a mug with a cup of tea with him, because it just sort of, when you grab and then something pushes forward,
yes.
It just sort of does that.
Right. And I've forgotten what the first story was.
I think the first one was the false one. Jungle Book Group Party every
Jungle Book.
Birthday
Yeah,
tradition.
I mean, I agree. Don't know. I was going with Parappa, but that was quite a lot of.
And the reason I'm picking I think I'm going to pick number 1 is because it's not as weird as the other two.
I bet you've all got boyfriends and girlfriends, like got boyfriends and girlfriends in gaming. You'll be lying if you said you didn't.
Like the other two, it seems so thorough and detailed.
Yeah.
To me.
Well, I think I've made my decision. Have you guys? Are we all agreeing
I think number
with
one's
Jungle
false.
Book being the lie?
I'm going one.
Okay, Rosie, did you really start this tradition when you were 15 to play Jungle Book Groove Party every year on your birthday?
Yep.
Oh, I'm really disappointed in you. Why did you let it? Was it Parappa?
It was
Oh, for
Parappa.
God's sake. Stupid Parappa.
I've got a Parappa clock. I've got so many things Parappa related.
Tricked us by wearing that top.
Literally, I thought that I was like, this could be a ruse.
Okay, so I'm going to kick things off with my first story, and it was probably one of the most dramatic things that happened when I was at school. So I was in sixth form, and I took drama, because of course I did in sixth form, and we had a teacher come in for maternity leave who was technically an actor, but not working so much, and so he came in to be our drama teacher when our drama teacher, who was like there all the time, left to go on maternity leave. And he, on his very first day, told us all that he was a voice in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which is one of my favourite games, so I was incredibly excited. Plus he also said that he'd once taught Craig Charles, and I used to be very into Red Dwarf, so it was even more exciting. Like, I was hugely excited, and he basically told us all about it. We all got very excited, and then the school realised that he had basically sent everybody to play Grand Theft Auto, and our head teacher played it, and he had never played a game before, he claimed, and he played Grand Theft Auto and was so horrified that we had letters sent out to every parent saying that they were hugely sorry and that they recommended that they did not let their children play Grand Theft Auto, and that they apologised that this teacher had sent everybody to play Grand Theft Auto and that they didn't approve, and that they would not have hired him if they'd known that he'd been a voice in an inappropriate game.
Wait, sixth form?
Sixth form, but it was a school all the way through, so I was in sixth form, but it was year 7 to 12, 13, whichever the last year is. My second story is that I once won a Street Fighter tournament before I'd actually learned to properly play the game.
Ooh, wow.
So I grew up playing Street Fighter, and I played it with my cousins, but they never actually taught me to play because they basically just wanted to beat me all the time. There was no interest in me actually like being taught to do anything helpful in the game. They just wanted to be able to beat me. So it was a lot of like button mashing, and I got the basics of it. Like I, figured out how to block, figured out, oh, this is how I move, and could maybe jump to avoid something. But I didn't know moves. I could do like one special attack on like Bison because I loved him for some reason. And then when I was 11 in my like first or second year at school, in secondary school, we had just like a random tournament where they used to let us use the big screen in our main like assembly hall, and people would just have tournaments of different things. And so because I loved Street Fighter, and at this point also didn't realise that you could play it differently to how I was playing it, I signed up. And so it was like an elimination bracket. There were maybe like 20 of us, I think. And I genuinely button mashed my way through playing Bison every single time, apart from once when somebody picked him in like one of my last rounds and I played Akuma instead. And I genuinely didn't realise that I wasn't playing it right. And I button mashed my way to victory. And my third story is that I once stopped playing The Witcher 3 for about a week because I was genuinely terrified of the Leshen character, the monster that has like big antlers.
Yeah. That is a terrifying monster.
Yeah, so I'd been playing it through. One night I wasn't particularly well and I couldn't really sleep, like when you're kind of just hot and ill and whatever. So I went downstairs to play it, and I was just sat in the dark playing it, and I was like wandering through the woods, and he just started to like walk up the hill, and I couldn't see, and I could just see these antlers, and so I thought it was like a creature, and so I carried on walking like an animal. And then he just appeared, and for some reason it scared me so much. Like it felt really sinister. I suddenly realised I was alone in a dark room at night, and it really like terrified me. And then I panicked because I'm like terrible at just panicking in games when I'm scared, and tried to run past him, and he just one-hit killed me.
Nice.
And he just, for some reason, creeped me out so much that I was just like, I'm not going to play that again, and just left it for about a week and just didn't go back because I was like, oh, it just made me feel really weird and uncomfortable and really, really scared. And considering I was an adult at this point, I'm not sure why, but it really terrified me.
I know, I'm just thinking.
Questions for Elle.
What was the name of your teacher? In the one who was the Grand Theft Auto, what was his name?
Mr. Gibson, I think. I'm pretty sure it's Mr. Gibson though.
If I had to choose now, I think I would say The Witcher. the one I'd say was false.
I don't know, I still think number 2. I'm just like with Bison, he's just, as far as I remember, he's a big and slow character, so, and I can't imagine button mashing, so.
And I think it's number 1.
No, come on!
Alright, well we can't, alright, well we need a majority. I don't know, I'll go with Rosie. Did you beat 19 people in a tournament at Street Fighter?
I did not have a teacher who was in GTA San Andreas.
Deal with it! I was right all along! You should have sided with me! Oh man, I thought the letter was just too far. I thought the letter was just a little bit too far. But then his tenure was so good. From March to July.
Does Mr. Gibson not even exist?
No, he doesn't.
Oh my god,
I did have a teacher that taught Craig Charles, who I did think was really cool. That bit was true, like don't be too worried.
Right, well it's taken me ages to come up with these 3
Lies.
definitely true stories. And I needed a little bit of help, and Dan reminded me of one just now. And you guys are aware of that. And so to hide the fact of which story is obviously true, I've managed to think of 3 stories that all involve Dan. So, which is just great, just a little fact for you.
Oh, that's impressive.
But which one isn't true? So, my first story is that when Bloodborne came out, it was the first time I played like a game like that, and I absolutely loved it, and it threw me that I loved it. And I had a weekend, not a weekend, it was a Friday evening planned to go around to Dan's house, and that was like planned for a couple of weeks. Then Bloodborne came along and I got very obsessed with it, and I got stuck on the Blood-Starved Beast. And I did still go over to Dan's, but I also took my PS4 and like, you know, we went for dinner and you know, when's the film, Dan? Soon? Good. Watched the film. That was a great film. Let's go home. And basically, as Dan was going up the stairs to bed, I was going to sleep on his sofa. I was like, do you mind? Oh, I brought my PS4, by the way. Do you mind if I...
Oh, it's
is that
just loose
okay?
in my pocket.
Do you mind if I'm really stuck on this this boss? I did go to sleep, but the next morning got up way before Dan. I got up at like 6 and was playing this Blood-Starved Beast boss battle over and over again. Dan, I remember, came downstairs, like had to creep past the TV, offered me a cup of tea, which was well received. And as he brought the cup of tea through, I beat the boss. I was very excited and was then able to turn off the PlayStation and enjoy the rest of my weekend. Well, until like some hours later when obviously I turned it back on and was excited to see what was next. But that's my first story, is that I took my PS4 around to Dan's house when we were supposed to be having a nice romantic night out together. My second Dan story, we played the Star Trek, the movie, the video game together over a weekend. Dan and I used to have a lot of free time, and so one weekend it had just come out, we'd just got it in the office. Do you fancy playing through this cooperatively? And we thought we'd play like an hour, but we ended up playing it like the whole day, and we got about halfway through. This was on Saturday. Played it the whole day, got about halfway through. It was hilarious because it was so bad, and we had so much fun, and neither of us had anything to do the next day, Sunday.
That surprises me.
That I was like, or Dan was like, do you want to just come back tomorrow and...
It was you.
Do you want to just come back tomorrow and play the Star Trek game again? But what you might not know is that I was so excited to do this that I took a curb. I drove my car around a corner a little bit too fast and clipped a curb, and unbeknownst to me, popped my tyre. And it was like into Dan's like drive. So I parked the car, went inside, we finished the Star Trek game, but then I came out and found my car had a flat tyre, and it was about 1 AM, maybe not that late, midnight on a Sunday. And so I had to go sheepishly back and knock on the door and just say, can I just stay at yours, Dan, please? Do you mind if I stay at yours and play some? No, we'd finished Star Trek by that point. I think we had stopped enjoying it as well. And my last entry is that back at quite near the start of our careers, Abe's Odyssey was being remastered. I'm a massive Abe's Odyssey fan. Back then, we would do little interviews and stuff, and basically what I'm getting at is that Lorne Lanning was there. And in a bit of a slip-up, when I was talking to Lorne Lanning, I mistakenly said to him that I thought that he hit a real creative plateau with Abe's Odyssey. And didn't realise my mistake at the time. What I meant was, he was like, I wouldn't say it was a plateau. I was like, no, I mean, it was just like, not the pinnacle of your career. I just mean, it's great. It's really good. So anyway, those are my 3 Dan stories.
Okay, what are we gonna say? Are we taking a group for round 2?
I think number 2 is the lie.
Yeah.
We're gonna go group through 2?
Yeah.
So Dave, did you smash your tyre when going round to Dad's house to play Star Trek the game?
I did.
Oh,
Was it 1? Was it 1?
It was 3.
It was no! No! We're not such a happy man! No!
Yeah, that never happened. It didn't
I
happen.
know, yeah. So sad. But you had the... Oh, that was brilliant.
Yeah, I have been to Just Add Water and I have met Lorne Lanning, but that
You didn't
happen.
destroy his career.
After Rosie's entry, I thought there was a chance you were going to say that you had to stop playing for a week because you'd fallen in love with Geralt.
I mean, that too, obviously. Like,
he's on the list.
yeah, if I was going to make a list, he would
he
be
on
at the
your
top
boy
of
list?
it. He is now that I know boy lists are a thing.
Geralt is on everyone's boyfriend list, to be fair, especially mine. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let us know if you guessed right in the comments, like the video if you enjoyed it, and hit the notification bell so you know instantly when a new Tuesday checklist goes live. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.
For the players.